Well, hello, everybody, and this is Auntie. Just as we predicted, not one person, not one person got married on Love is Blind season 9. Let's talk about the finale, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall.
A sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers, and my nieces and nephews, and all the y'all who have been here through the long haul. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for Auntie to rise. It's time for Auntie to rise. It's time for Auntie to
Welcome back, everybody. This is Auntie, and we're going to be talking all things Love is Blind, season 9, episode 12, the season finale. Like we didn't see this coming. We absolutely saw this coming. I told y'all from the jump street that Megan would chose Jordan with her womb. Now the rumors are out in the street that, anyway, we'll get to that. Y'all, let me do a poll real quick. I haven't done a poll in a minute. Welcome, everybody. Let me do a poll real quick. Just one second. I'm setting it up. Hoping y'all having a great day. I know it's not but a few of you all in here, but Cheryl Davis said, I can't believe I woke up at 3 a.m. for this foolishness. Gail Cooper said, Ray Charles saw this coming. Let me tell you something. I was very disappointed in this episode as well. But it was so predictable. I don't know if the cast was playing in Kinetic's face that the rest of them decided that they were going to just go to the end, maybe just to get an extra paycheck or whatever it was. I don't know if it was like maybe some pressure on them to go to the end. I don't know, right? But whatever it was almost predictable, but it was really sad, especially KB and Atman. So there is so much psychology behind that particular relationship, and we're going to talk about that because I got time today. So hold on for 1 second. Hold on, y'all. So when we talk about Allie and Anton, they were the first couple to kind of walk down the aisle. And before that, they had a bachelorette or bachelor party. It was so lame. Like it looked like it was done in a school auditorium. But anyway, they decided that they was gonna have this bachelorette party and bachelor party, so we got an opportunity to kind of see where people's heads was. Allie's girlfriends was basically downing Anton, right, because he was a trucker, and they felt like she should have she needed to marry somebody who was making more money. He had already mentioned that she definitely was one of those type of high end type girls, right? But there was some faults that she had as well. Wouldn't clean up, wouldn't do this, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. And so he had his stuff with her. But I think for her, when she saw that he had drunk all the stuff out of the refrigerator, that's when this relationship should have ended. um and we can look at these episodes and we can see where these couples needed to be just ended. Y'all let me know down in the comment section. But for me, I thought that this couple needed to end it that day. When you have to ask your partner about, how much alcohol they've had, they did not have. She's like, where's the tequila? It was some cores in here. All of that was, she knew then that this was not the man for her and that alcohol absolutely was an issue for her. But when she sat down with her girlfriends at the bachelorette party, and her girlfriends was talking about him, and she said, well, he does make a lot of money, and and then he has potential because he has some other business ideas. I knew then she was going to say, first of all, I knew she was going to say no because of the alcohol. And while she did not, she tried to defend him in the midst of her girlfriends, I don't think that she was really interested in him not being able to give her that lavish life as well, because that meant that she was going to have to continue to step her game up and basically, be 50-50 in a relationship with him because she was marrying potential. And I have always been taught that you don't marry potential. You have to marry the person for who they are right now. And I think that, one of her girlfriends said that you got to marry who you see in front of you, right? You got to be engaged to, living with, dating the person that you see up front. And so, of course, it is her wedding day. She is coming down the aisle and everything. Well, at the bachelor's party, he told the guys that although she had issues and stuff like that, he was going to say yes. He was absolutely confident. And when we're looking at this show, I don't know if y'all are like me, but I'm like on the edge of my seat. And I'm like, with some of them I'm 50-50. I'm unsure about whether or not, they're going to say yes or no. But with them, I just was waiting to see what her no was going to be. I was just waiting to see what it won't let me do a 1 star. If it would, and I would have put it as a 1 star. But I mean, hey, boo, hey, little homebody, hey, hi, everybody. I wanted to put it down as a 1 star. Trust me, I did. But go ahead on and give it to 2. So, I was just waiting to see how she was going to end with this. And, when they, do the for better for worse, do you take X, Y, and Z? Do you take Allie to be your wife? When they said it to Anton, I thought she was going to actually literally faint. Okay. She did not faint, but she wanted the easy way out of this. She wanted him to be the one to say, I'm leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. But he didn't. He went through with it because he thought that the things that were flaws, or he saw as flaws, was things that he could work through because he really cared about him. I don't think the parents are going to care one way or the other, because I don't think that any of the parents were really for this marriage and this relationship, right? So she says no to him, And he is in complete and total shock that she said no. And it was just really, really sad. And she said at the end, she said, I wish he had said no. She said it was really hard to leave him up there. She said, I almost wish he would have just said no. She said, I was really hoping that standing up there with him would make me feel at ease and confident. And it just did not feel right or how I expected to feel in that moment. But the thing about it is, this is after all her little girlfriends done dogged him out and made fun of him and all of that. And I truly do believe that, that was an influence on her decision as well. She said, he said, I don't feel like, she said that she didn't feel like he was super forthcoming about his lifestyle, i.e., the drinking and the party, and how active he was, and how he ate unhealthy, and like some of the information that she learned about Anton through his friends. And she said that threw off her perspective of him. And she said, but it really felt shitty to be the one walking away. No, you didn't want to be the one, right, to say bye. You didn't want to be the one to say no because you thought that you could keep yourself intact, right? But I just was like, it was the inevitable, and I don't know why they don't stop. Somebody let me know down in the comment section. Are they getting pressured by production for some of them to go, right? Because of course this is a season where we have seen, how many couples, y'all, was it? 3 couples that already said no, I ain't got it to do. Nikki, Joe, and who else, y'all? For some reason I want to think it was another couple that just was like, no, we're not going down the aisle, we're not going to do it. But she stood up there and she said no to him. And he was really disappointed. He really wanted to be, Anton said, I'm not the person that was in the pause, and I don't know if it was my looks. And that just, that really made me sad, because he says, I don't know if it was my looks or if it was the vibe. He said, I don't know if it was the way that we were living together, but I know I could say that I did everything for her. I did nothing but care for her. And this freaking sucks. Yeah, Patrick and Casey. Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. I knew it was another couple. He said he didn't do anything but care for her. But what he has to understand is that if you are a type of person, right, that is turned off by smoking, drinking, stuff like that, nothing that you do is going to ever make that person attracted to you. They may tolerate you, but the attraction is gone. And I don't know about you all, but an alcoholic is unpredictable, i.e., Nikki. They're unpredictable. It's always a bunch of ranting and bullshit that come up through drinking. They say that a drunkard man speaks a sober mind, and you just don't know who you're going to be getting out of that box. You don't know. And so I completely understood, right? I don't know if you all did, but I completely understood her wanting to be free of him. I don't understand why they get in white dresses, bring their families. There was a little girl that was there that was just bawling her freaking eyes out. And that just broke my heart, because I was like, these people are invested in these weddings. Now, as an adult, right, or a cast member, you understand that you have an opportunity to say no at any time, right? But I think that any time should not be at the altar. I don't think that your family and friends should be coming and all of that. And talking about family and friends, not one person showed up but the daddy for Edmund. His mother, in my opinion, ain't. I told you all when I did my reviews, I told you all that the mother is absent of accountability and responsibility, in my opinion. She came up in that joint like she was the mother. When she met KB, she came in there like she was the mother of the year. Like she never talked about, unless it did not come out, she never talked about abandoning her children. This Edmund is so immature, in my opinion. He is stuck at the age that he was when he was first abandoned and put in the foster care system. And KB knew the responsibility that she was going to have as a wife with KB was going to have, she wasn't going to be able to take off of work. She was going to always be on some social services. I got to fix him, pacify him, calm him down, make him understand. She knew that that responsibility was going to be hers. When they were sitting up there, up on at the snowmobile thing, she should have ended it then. There was another time when they were at the bachelor party, and he did. First of all, when he made a decision to start crying in the middle of massaging my feet and licking my toes. Yes, it's Love is Blind has gotten worse as the seasons go on. Lisa Ray, that's so pretty. Is that it? Is that what that is? Lisa Ray, 42. I felt so sad for Edmund. His teacher showed up like a mother. Oh, we're gonna talk about that. Quay, the Canary Diamond, said KB knew she didn't like Edmund like that, calling him a B and then dragging this all the way to the wedding to say no was cruel AF. Okay, now if y'all want to, it's midday. It is midday. If y'all want to, I will drop the link so y'all can come up and say what y'all need to say. Okay, we can have a discussion. Y'all let me know by putting a thumbs up in the comment section. And Ray Della will let me know. So my whole thing was there were so many opportunities for her to back out of this relationship with KB. This man didn't have nobody that showed up for him, like I said, but his father. And none of his siblings were there. Unless I missed it, I didn't see any of KB's siblings. And his mama, of course, he was like, my mother had other things, other issues that came up. His mother been having other issues that has come up since the boy probably came out the womb. And part of the reason why not KB, Edmund is the way he is because he refuses to deal with the past. He refuses to make his mother responsible for her stuff. And so he goes into childlike behavior. And at KB being a social worker, right, was going to always be on duty because she was going to have to leave and do therapy with her professional clients that get her paid and then come home and do therapy and work at home with her son husband or child husband. And I don't mean to drag the boy because despite everything that he has gone through, he's gotten his degree. Has a great job, right? He's been managing. Now, he'll kiss the floor on you and he will go up in a closet in the kitchen, but he has done very well, right? And has beat the odds in many ways. However, that childlike behavior and stuff like that, don't nobody, KB knew. I mean, she knew straight up. I think that that is one of the reasons why she made a decision after she met him and was around him for a while. She already knew, she was like my sensitive baby, my crying baby, like that dumb, right? But I think that she knew when she saw him and they, met up the first time and he came out there with them high knees like he was, the band leader. She knew this. She was not sexually attracted to him, which is why I think she went into this. I'm not going to do this with you. Now I know that the two of them had talked about this right while they was in the pods. But when she saw him, she didn't break her story. She was like, "This is my story, and I'm sticking to it." And there's no way in the world you're gonna tell me that she was sexually attracted to him. There's no way I would have been even remotely attracted to him. But I would have had enough decency, right, to not break his heart at the altar. I think that you have to have some level of decency to not take a person through any unnecessary hurt. That's just my opinion about the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all is downtown in the chat. I just was like, what the is going on with this, right? And so she, of course, is going through, she's got her whole family there. He has his school teacher come with her husband. Now, this is the school teacher that he was talking about in the pods when he got very emotional about it. And the two of them had a conversation, right? And she was saying, as a child, and when you were in my classroom, I had never dealt with a child like you before, dancing and doing all of this kind of stuff and just bouncing off the walls. And she said, but I learned that you were listening and getting what I was saying the whole entire time. And this has helped me through, my career. She was there as his pseudo mom. And that's sad as hell. That his own mother sitting up there talking all that trash and I got some beads for you and the girls. Did she ever get them? Did she ever get the beads? I think the mother is a wannabe African. I don't know because she was talking about she had went to Africa and went to Ghana and stuff like that. Like the mother is like whack as hell. So I don't even know why, they have never really talked about it. Maybe, Edmund will talk about it, after doing some interviews and stuff. Maybe he'll talk about what really was the reason why he wasn't with his parents or whatever, because it seemed like the parents was together because he was like, my mom and my dad they would get us, and then shortly thereafter we'd be right back out the house again. And that boy, I'm telling you right now, he is stunted. And you know what, so is KB. They even play with the man like that and then get on there and shade him because I don't know, how many of you all have seen my other reviews, but I thought it was very shady when she said, "You ain't slow at me. You got a whole lot of sense. You ain't slow." Who called them slow? Life? Society? Who called them slow? Because he beat the odds. Even when, they was having a conversation, about some man coming in there and trying to talk to her. And he was like, "Look, I don't want no problems." She saw that probably as him not being masculine, right? But he was like, "I'm not going to be fighting nobody. I don't want them kind of problems." And throughout his childhood, because of all the trauma being in and out of the foster care system, somebody probably told him very young, "Don't you get in no trouble, boy. Don't you do this." You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times crimes are perpetrated by people who have been traumatized as a child, right? Some of them, get to a point where they be like, now I don't want y'all to think that I'm saying that all crimes are done like this, right? Because I gotta be clear with people, because but a lot of people who grow up in the foster care system and stuff like that, they do, y'all know what I mean to say. And so I'm sure that there was someone who had a conversation with him. Maybe it was that teacher and was like, Evan, don't you get in trouble. Don't you hang with them boys. Don't you be out there fighting. Absolutely, Yolanda. Absolutely. Yolanda said, KB, talk down to him. Absolutely. What you saying, Laura? Laura said, I watched it with FF on until the wheel you take. Okay. And the answers then the couch sit down with Jordan and Megan. I don't know what you're saying, baby. I'm sorry. You have to rewrite that for me because when I'm looking at the comments from this side, I got to be able to understand the whole thing, and you talking in code, so I don't know what you said, Laura. Write it over for me, okay? Quay said the mama is definitely the source of his trauma. He's emotionally stunted. Absolutely, he is. Um, Lisa Ray said Edmund should have never been casted for the show. He needs therapy. And the unfortunate thing was there were other couples, other African American people who were there on the show. Now, oftentimes on the Love is Blind series, there are couples who do get together, but they don't get casted to go on the honeymoon because they cap the honeymoons off, right? And so they were the only black couples okay, the assumption from many people are or is that only those people who go on a honeymoon are the ones who connected. However, season after season, we have learned that there are other couples who make it and go far and they connect with each other, but they cap off the honeymoons. And I believe that, they looked at the other ones and was like, okay, these people are the people we want to go. They're controversial. We already know Joe ain't worth nothing. He's dating and engaged to a woman that he doesn't like because of her size. Um, we already know that. Anyway, they a lot of people, not myself, felt like they were the only black representation that we had on Love is Blind this season. For me, I don't see it that way. Um, and if they was gonna pick somebody, don't pick him to be the representation for me. Like, don't pick him for me. Okay. Anyway, let me get back on focus. So, of course, he is hyped up. He has a school teacher there. He has his dad there, his friends, but no other family members. And I thought that spoke volumes about the level of support that he has had in his life. And I think that this is why we see this stuff. So, of course, she goes down the altar and everything. She gets up there and KB says that he loves her and everything. And I noticed that she was without a whole lot of conversation for him, so I knew she was going to say no. She, when it was her time, she didn't even have the ability, right, to even say no verbally. She was shaking her head, and he did it. Oh, like, what is that? What is it? No. Wait a minute, hold on, y'all. Let me get my MFA. No. No. Oh, it's like, what is happening? It almost sounds like an animal trapped in a cage. It's so guttural. No. She said, you need, so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You need somebody who's going to be 100% at the altar with you. What the does that mean? I couldn't understand why she said that he needs somebody to be like, why did she choose that frame? And then of course she goes into therapy mode where she's talking down to him and trying to fix him at the same time. I hated how she treated him. And I hope that she looks back at this and realizes that everybody doesn't need therapy. They don't need to be fixed by you, boo. Do you fix you? Fix you. That you would be in a relationship with somebody and call your man a the man that you're supposed to love. The man you all always she's been trying to fix him. He's not therapy. And he deserved better than what she gave him, in my opinion. Nobody wants to be with somebody who's tolerating them. And I think that the relationship, I'm going to go even further back. The relationship really was over when she slept on that balcony. Because I don't know about y'all women, but I ain't sleeping on nobody's balcony for and then get up and love them in the morning. I ain't gonna love you when they come in the morning. I want to be done and as far away from you as humanly possible. As humanly possible. Nobody wants to sleep on the porch, on the balcony. And she said he kept coming out there trying to encourage her to come in and sleep with him, and that's just not what she wanted. So she gets up there and she tells him, you need someone who is going to be at the altar 100%. Then, as they're walking away, she's like, you're a strong man, kind of like to help. You're so kind. You're so smart. You're so special. Like, this ain't the help. This is not the help. But I thought she treated him that way the whole entire time. And now let's talk about Megan. Sparkle, Megal, completely fizzed out. No sparkle in her at all. And I really felt for Jordan, and I knew Jordan was making a mistake of being pressured because I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom for almost 30 years. I have one child that I love with all my heart. I have dated different men. She's probably met 3. I wonder if she ear hustling because she off today. I hope she ain't ear hustling. You don't introduce anything or anyone to your child that ain't sure. She's probably met 3 of the men I've dated. And one of them was her dad, her biological dad, before he passed away from heart failure. You just it's just a no. It's a sure no too. Children do not rebound well where you are introducing a potential mate into their life. They don't. They don't have the capacity to know that this may and may not work. They see an individual coming in, and that's all they see. When she sat up there, they didn't even make it to the altar. She got up and said that she was wrestling back and forth since 4:30 in the morning about this month relationship. No, you was struggling with it prior to that. You thought that the heavens had opened up, and because your child, his child, happened to have the same disease that your father had, which was type 1 diabetes, that this was a sign and an omen that a raven had came with a note, bitch, from your father, and that a white dove was flying around your house all day and saying, this is the will of your father and this is supposed to happen. No. Unfortunately, there are many people who are born with diseases or chronic illness from birth. And because you meet somebody who's common, don't mean that your father said Miriam. Because if your father did say Miriam, then she should have walked down the aisle. If she truly believed that this was an omen from her father, y'all don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't mean to come off disrespectful, but I'm a shoot straight from the hip. I ain't gonna play no games with it. Because being a single mom, I thought Jordan made a horrible move. And all she wanted to do was buy the little boy Lego sets. I give, my love language is given. So he's trying to tell her when they were dating, right? He's telling her while they're dating, look, he wants quality time. That's his love language. And y'all know children, a toy, they just like a toy. They don't care about no damn toys. The more you buy, the more they want. They'll play, especially on Christmas Day. Christmas Day, I got time today, y'all. Christmas Day, sometimes as a parent, is the most disappointing day ever when your children are small because you go to the store. Now, when I was buying toys almost 30 years ago, we didn't have online. Hear me. We didn't have online. We didn't have DoorDash. We didn't have Amazon. You know what we had? Eat Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody get in the car, all the shoppers, and we stand outside the store until it opens for those special hours. We would have to split stores from Toys R Us. We did not even have until later on Target. We didn't have like Walmart. We had Toys R Us and Zayres. Was it Zayres? The stuff that we used to have to do to get our kids toys. We used to have a crew. Okay, so you go to the Circuit City. So here go my money, here go my less, right? Okay, all right. So y'all got Circuit City. Okay, so we gonna go over here. We're gonna go to the Toys R Us, and the store's supposed to be opening up at midnight. So as soon as you left Thanksgiving dinner, you already had everything. Y'all don't know nothing about. Some of y'all don't know nothing about that. And then you go and you get that stuff. Then you got the crew that's wrapping, okay, and then you got the crew that's assembling. You take that stuff and you hoing your ass downstairs or around to the apartment, wherever you was living at the time, staging it like Santa came, baking cookies, drinking milk. Some of the kids, like we used to get all the kids together. In my family, we used to spend Thanksgiving together with all the kids. All the kids would come together and we'd be in the same house Thanksgiving. So each one of the kids had one gift that they would open up, right? And then after we had a breakfast and the grown-ups do what grown-ups do, then we would split and go to our homes. And your kids would play with a couple of things. And here you done set your... Later on, as the kids got older, then we had Walmart. Then Walmart had the layaway. You had to stand in line and put the stuff in layaway at Walmart. And then after you put the stuff in the leadway at Walmart, you only had a couple of weeks, so you had to get it out. And then you had to stand in line at Walmart and wait for them to go out to them cold trailers in the back of this thing and hope they got all of your that you already got on. Y'all, some of y'all ain't gonna, y'all know nothing about that. Because you can hit a button at Amazon and tell Amazon I need it tomorrow morning. We had it. She's the type of person that she feels like, okay, if I give him $1,000 Lego set, he's saying it don't make a difference if the Lego set is $59.99. He would rather be at the ice cream shop with you. And there are some children, they don't care about gifts, they care about quality time. Mine's still like that. She care about the quality time. Listen to me when I talk. And then sometimes my mind be so many different places that I have now had to say, okay, physically stop walking. Because she wants to know that she got heard. She said she heard from her daddy. And so now she disobedient to the daddy that been talking to her from the grave that told her that this was her husband. She crushed that man not because I think he really cared about her, because I think he did care about her. But I think what crushed him was that he got his son involved. And he got to deal with that baby mama. Absolutely, Miss Chain. I've had rich friends, they think they can buy you your attention and your love. DGF said the kids would play with the boxes. Yes, they would. Dragging each other and stuff like that. Honey, we stood in them lines for them Cabbage Patch dolls. And we stood in the line for Barney. And I remember, honey, me and this lady up in the store about to, I'm talking about we was about to throw down for Barney. I'm talking about throw down. And then when they brought them little dolls out, them little brat dolls that they have no, that they had the nubs. Did y'all kids ever had them brat dolls and the shoe fell off of one of them? I'm thinking the toy is defected and the daggone thing, they had nubs for hands and nubs for feet. Anyway, I thought that was the ugliest doll. But when your kids want them, you get them. We stood in line. We did what we had to do. What you say, boo? Hustling to the Toys R Us, circling for a parking spot at the mall because the lot was full. Yes, yes, Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray said lines will be all around the store. Y'all know we went through. Let me tell you, these parents don't know how good they got it now. Wasn't no goddamn on Amazon, no Jeff Bezos. Oh no. Mm-mm. Nah. Let me get back to this. I love talking to y'all. I just love it. She said, I was praying and thinking last night and I couldn't sleep. Something just ain't right. I feel like we're two ships in the night, like two different people. And he was like, and I don't think that we're that different. He said, I know you keep saying that, but I don't see it. She said, we're pretty different. Like, you like simple things, and your routine is doing the same thing every day. What the did you think? It just goes to show the fantasy that she was under, The spell she was under, thinking her daddy told her to stay with this man. What did you think that anybody got a child is going to have a routine? Even though you're not the custodial parent. She said, like, you be doing the same thing every day, eating the same things every day, all that. And like, you're a picky eater. I'm an adventure eater. So now you just finding shit. Now you just finding an excuse. So he's like, so what? You don't have to eat the same thing. We don't have to do the same thing. And he said, and I feel like it's a weird thing for you to say that we're not compatible. She says, I will be doing whatever I wanted with you. She says, I know that, Jordan. I know you are still encouraging me to do the same things that I want to do, like going skiing in the Alps. And then the next day I'm in Paris. And then after that, I'm snowboarding and I'm just living this life, right? This life that I've worked for and I've worked very hard for. That's why I know. Well, I don't know, but I do not see myself ever getting married because I like living the life that I live. And I don't know if I will slow down or change anything for a man and for a relationship because I'm old and I'm not set in my ways because I am very flexible in many areas in my life, but I don't know if I would ever find a love that I will be willing to change for. That's just the truth. Anyway, I digress. This ain't about me. She said, I know that you've been encouraging me to still do all the things that I've been doing on my own, but like I've been doing all those things by myself for the past 4 years, and I want to do those things with a partner. I've never dated anybody with kids. But didn't your daddy tell you that this was the man that you needed to be doing this with? What happened to daddy? You knew you had never dated anybody with kids, but you was dating him with your womb. She says that she was like, I was into opposite tracks. No, you made up this life in your head. Now I think that someone released. I know I saw a picture of it that Megan has a baby. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I know I saw it somewhere. I know I saw it somewhere. Oh, it's in a parade. Hold on. No, that's not where the baby picture is. Somebody else had a picture of her baby. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I want to say somebody sent it to me. Let me move this. That's the baby daddy. I don't have to zoom in. Hold on. Hold on. I never can figure out how to do this. Never. Here's another picture. This is from the sun. No, I don't want to search in the picture. I just want to blow the picture out. That's Megan. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me just do this. Hold on. Let me just do this. I don't know why I didn't do it before. Hold on, y'all. I can always share the screen. Can y'all see it? This is according to the sun. Let's see if we can slide back so you can see it again. She said at the end when they broke up, she did not know whether or not she was going to be a good stepmother or could be a good stepmother. And she also indicated she didn't think that she would be a good mother. But let's just say, looks like she's going to be a mother and is a mother. And that's why I kept saying in my reviews, she married with her womb. She probably saw a biological clock ticking. I don't know why women be worrying about their biological clock, but they do. And she saw herself as being wealthy, having everything she wanted, but this. And Jordan was a ready made family. And I think that that is what made her like Jordan. I think that that's what made her interested in him point blank into the period. That's just my opinion about it. I may be wrong, but that's my opinion about it. That's my opinion, y'all. Y'all let me know y'all's downtown. So anyway, let me finish up with their thing. She says all the men that I've dated up to this point have had fairly flexible schedules, and all my friends are the same way. He said, so then why did you choose me in the past then? She said, because I didn't realize how rigid it truly was. Bitch, it's called a schedule. It's not rigid, it's a schedule. He said, but I told you in order to be in a relationship with me that you was going to have to make these sacrifices. And I told you that me and Luca wasn't easy. It wasn't going to be easy. She said, well, you're very easy to love. And I think initially I leaned into that, but I'm sorry for not giving you the understanding and the like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry for not giving you the understanding and the compassion and the consideration that you needed from a fiance. She said, I just can't do this, Jordan. He had tears coming out his eyes. I was shocked. I must say that I was shocked that Jordan was crying, but I guess he really did love her. She said it just doesn't feel right. She said, just knowing what today is, like there was no way I wanted to go to the altar and put either of us through that. I'm sorry I didn't love you and I didn't give you what you needed. Thank you for introducing me to Luca. I know that was huge. Let me tell you, he looked like he wanted to backsmack her after she said that. The producers asked him, was there anything that he regretted? He said, yes, introducing her to my child. I thought it was a poor and a bad decision when he agreed to do it. Kids are off limits. For me, as a single mom, that was always up there. It was always up there. You're not going to be my child. Period. I don't need you to raise her, buy her anything. She don't need no gifts from you. The relationship is between you and I, not the three of us. Some people say that their children is a package deal. I don't know about that. Um, I don't know about that package deal bullshit. I don't know about that. Always been that way. I've always been that way. I don't know about the package deal. I usually don't get into a conversation about it because people don't understand where I be coming from with it. No, this ain't no package deal. Mm-mm. Anyway, I'm looking at the poll. I am ending the poll. Thank you all so much for participating in the poll. The question that I asked was, how would you rate this season of Love is Blind? So let me drop it down in the chat to show you all how you voted. How would you rate this season of Love is Blind? Season Love is Blind, 2 stars, got 51%. 3 stars, 28%. 4 stars, 16%, and 5 stars, 5%. 81 of you all participated. I appreciate that. But Love is Blind is just not what it used to be anymore. Um, Now, do I still wait in anticipation for the next episode to drop? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I don't like the fact that they drop them three at a time, 3 and 4 at a time. Because people like myself that's fully employed, right? We can't keep up with that. So we get, behind the eight ball and people be, waiting. Um, do you have a feel real solid about a relationship before? Wait a minute. Do you have to feel real solid about a relationship before meeting the children? I don't know if you're asking me, if you asking it to other people, but y'all please weigh in if you are a single parent and have been a single parent. As for me, I could be in a real relationship with you, a real solid relationship with you, and you not meet my child. I've done it and I do it. Unless I am going to the altar with you, you have the relationship is with me, not with my child. And when your children get to be a certain age, right? There is I grew up in a family where we protect the kids at all cost. Um and I just ain't gonna have you around my child. I gotta really, really, really like you, even if you're a female. Um like mm-mm. So my answer to that would be no. My child is off limits for relationships because it could be real one day and not real the next. It could be real one day and not the next year. This has been something that I've always done and practiced in my relationships, and my child is better for it and thankful for it that I did not run different men through my household. That. So yeah, no. Mm-mm. No. A real solid relationship can end into a disaster. So no. But thank you for asking. And if anybody else wants to answer that question, down in the chat how you do dating, um, please feel free to do so. Um, mhm. Well, there is an older show, and I wanted to do a review of the older show. There's an older show that they casted, I believe it was in Brazil, and it is called The 50 and Overs. I thought it was very interesting because, and I was going to cover the show. If y'all want me to, I'll cover it. Are you a member? No. Um, Dang, you're not a member. But I was going to say I can cover that show in the membership. I like that show because when you get to be a certain age, or at least you hope that when people get to be a certain age, that you are just without that you ignore social judgment. Um I don't care what you think about how I protect myself and those around me. I don't care. And one thing that I noticed about the 50 and over show that they did for Love is Blind, when they came out and they saw each other and they didn't like each other, they did not exchange a ring or anything. Was only one guy that was playing around that did that, right? But him and the lady basically ended up cussing each other out. But they didn't go further, they didn't stay in relationships, and they said what they said. And I think that when you get older and you don't care about what society thinks anymore, and you are a free thinking independent person, you don't give a good rat what somebody think or what they have to say about how you move in your life. And that's where I am, right? Being 60 years old, well, before I turned, got into my 60s, I was like that probably maybe 35. I didn't care. Because whatever decision you make, good or bad, somebody's going to stand on the outside and judge it. I was very discreet and very private about my life. I've always have been, and I always will be, because and if you in my life and you have something to say, then I respect that, right? And I'll listen and stuff. It's not like I'm closed off to stuff, but I don't deal with social pressures anymore. I don't have anybody down my back judging me about how I live my life. And if they doing it, they absolutely doing it behind my back. They damn sure ain't bringing it to the table, because I ain't eating none of that. And that's a faux show. But anyway, y'all, I've been out here long enough. We've been out here an hour. I thank you all so much for being here. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this in the replay gang. I'm sure that Raydella has already told y'all to hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe. And when you do subscribe, make sure you turn your notification bells on so that when I go live, you go live right along with me. Until we meet again, y'all, please be safe out there in those streets and in the water. Bye, y'all.